Good afternoon and welcome back to Bowl TV for match play from the 2019 Super Senior Classic taking place at Samstown in Las Vegas, Nevada. My name is Aaron Smith, sitting alongside Daniel Farish for our final 6 games of the day. We started with 198 competitors this week. Got down to the top 50 for this morning's cashers round, and now on to the top 12. For 6 games of round robin match play, so we're broken up into 2 6-player groups. Bowlers will face each player once throughout that before we get to a position round where the player ranked number 1 will face 2, 3 versus 4, and 5 versus 6, with each win worth 30 bonus pins, a tie 15 bonus pins, and a loss, unfortunately, gets you nothing extra here at the SSC. The lanes are fresh. The 40-foot condition we've faced all week. 25.5 mils Kegel ice oil. Big thanks to Kegel, the official lane maintenance provider for USBC short duration events. It's going to go quite quick today as we get through our matches, as we can see already in the 4th frame over here on 19 and 20. We are joined on 19 and 20 by Tom Baker and Pete McCordick in our opening round match, while Kevin Croucher takes on Christopher Keene over on 21 and 22. Over on 23 and 24, one of our other 3 stations going on at the moment, you can find Ron Hostler, our final player into match play. And we'll have 2 lefties left in the field, taking on Ty Dawson, who had the big block in the cashers round to move all the way up into 2nd place overall. Over on 15 and 16, our other feature pair, Ben Hafes, is taking on Takeo Sakai from Japan. Additionally, some extra pairs outside of our coverage range at the moment. To start things off, Daryl Bauer taking on Hugh Miller, our other player from the port side. Tagging the lanes from the left. And then as far away from us as possible, our top overall qualifier through 18 games, Ron Moore, the 2017 Super Senior Classic champion. Is currently facing off in this match against Alan Sabin. At the end of match play, we will know our top 2 seeds for the stepladder finals. The winner of each of these groups will earn an automatic spot in tomorrow's championship round, scheduled to start at 2 p.m. Eastern, 11 local time here in Las Vegas. High total pinfall, including bonus pins, will earn the top seed. The winner of the other group, who did not have the top amount of pins fall in that respect, will be the number 2 seed, and then the number 2, number 3, and number 4 players in the group for each group will advance to a group stepladder tomorrow morning, noon Eastern, 9 a.m. start time here in Las Vegas. The hardest working man in Las Vegas now joining us. Move over Tom Jones, we have Daniel Farish.
We're back.
We are back, and
Full from lunch?
full from lunch, yes. As I said right before we started, this is a new feeling. Usually,
Oh no. Ty Dawson on a double puts it in the gutter.
that was unexpected, yes. That did catch, especially as colorful of a bowling ball as that is.
My eyes caught the ball going down the lane, and then all of a sudden it wasn't on the lane anymore.
But Ty, as you mentioned, an early double. That was his first shot of the 3rd game, taking on Ron Hostler right now. But we're going to be moving quick, and we're going to be taking quite a look at live scoring throughout the course of competition here to keep an eye on all of our matches as we get closer and closer to determining essentially our final 8 in hopes of reaching 4 tomorrow morning.
Well, I'll tell you one thing I noticed in practice right out of the gate is that most of these players I've had 2 days to get familiar with their games, watching them and how they throw the ball. So I feel pretty certain, having the sample size that I have, it looks like each player is trying to attack the part of the lane where they're the most comfortable. If you're a straighter player, those guys are further right. If you like to try and hook the ball or bend the ball or shape the ball, you're in around third arrow at the arrows and getting it out to a similar break point as the guys that are playing straighter. The only bowler out there that looked uncomfortable all throughout practice and started this game uncomfortable is Kevin Croucher. He did not bowl well the 6 games this morning. We never really saw what was going on, but I was watching him in practice. Everything that he was trying to get to hook off the spot seems to labor down lane, didn't want to pick up. Either was burning up in the mid lane or was never reading the pattern and just getting to the back end and then wasn't turning the corner. And even in practice, he moved right with what looked like a weaker piece. I don't think it was urethane. It was a weaker resin ball. And the motion was just terrible. And I think he started with that ball, and he went light single pin, and then the 278 that he chopped. And the last 2 shots right here in one of our 2 featured pairs, it looks like he's moved further in, and he's going to try and shape it as best he can. Because going straight in practice just didn't look good. And again, the first 2 frames here didn't look great. So I think that's the one guy was the most uncomfortable to start the set, which makes sense because as far as the 12 guys out there go, he didn't, compared to his last 2 days, his performance this morning was arguably the worst. So,
and that's certainly a thing to consider after having so much success. Obviously, just absolutely crushed the burn on day 1. Went 130 over on the fresh yesterday, but definitely saw those struggles throughout the Cashers round to drop all the way from 2nd to 7th place. And I mean, he went plus 54, which when you kind of think about it, it's like, okay, but he was 93 over after 2. So the back half of that block did not go the way Kevin would have liked after a 246 and 247 start.
yeah.
But the good thing for him is,
and he did have the worst scratch. He did have the worst 6-game total this morning of these 12, didn't he? He did.
He did, yes. A few pins below Alan Sabin, who was 5th, dropped all the way to 11th.
We talked about him dropping.
Ty Dawson leading the way, 1469 to jump from 8th to 2nd place. So that shows you how much was out there, though, that Ty could, let's see, I think there's only one other 1400, Hugh Miller, 1407. So, I mean, he was 60-plus pins better than the rest of the field, and he was only able to move up 6 spots. Obviously, he could only go up 1 more from there, but he was still 100 pins behind. But as close as everything still is here, I think that's the most advantageous for everybody, even the 2 players at the bottom of their respective groups, Ron Hostler and Alan Sabin, especially with bonus pins involved. It's still anybody's ball game here. The one big takeaway, Ron Moore has 166 pin lead over Hugh Miller for the top spot in his group.
Currently back-to-back opens in the 4th and 5th going up against Darryl Bauer, who's clean through 5.
So with that in mind, I mean, Ron just needs to take care of a match or 2, bowl his game, doesn't have to get out of his element to guarantee a spot in the step ladder. I mean, he has 100 pins to play with in regards to Ty Dawson as well. So there's the miscue from Chris Keene on the single pin.
Tom Baker, the 4.67 on lane 19.
Let's go.
I'll give that one a couple golf claps.
I felt that was slightly louder than a golf clap. It was still in range.
Attaboy. Watching on the replay on the delay here.
Fortunately for Tom right now, despite the excitement of that, he is not looking in good shape here because Pete McCordick has not missed yet.
Correction on 22. They gave him 5 count, and he got 6.
Now make it 8. So McCordick very quickly is going to collect his first set of bonus points. came in 8th place overall, but this Crouch makes a pretty decent run at it, just a little too thin on the 2-pin. Can we make it 9? Pete McCordick. It's got to hold. Oh.
It held. Have faith, young Padawan.
They know who he is. So we're gonna.
Is that technically your side? Are you filming this one?
I guess technically yes. This is my side. If if 2021 has been the cutoff, which is technically
Kinda is, yeah.
It's where the camera's at. So Baker, now all you can do is try to get as many pins as you can when you know you're going to lose the match, which, you know, he could still get into the 220s here, which is certainly all right. But it's not 257 with the extra 30 on it. We had a perfect game to kick off the Cashers round. Daryl Bauer doing big time things. And we start off match play the same way.
All throughout practice and now even this match, Tom Baker's ball down lane again. I'm watching a lot of balls. I don't know if it's the back ends are tighter or the middle of the lane is drier, causing the balls to burn up and lose energy. But a lot of guys are struggling with down lane motion, with getting that ball to turn the back end and have that crisp, sharp back end motion that we've been seeing throughout most of the tournament.
And I think a lot of that's going to go, you know, what you'll hear often is the more the pattern is run, the tighter it ends up playing. So
yep.
I'm sure that certainly has some effect on it. And of course,
that ball's not going to, yeah.
Once again, a different amount of competitors on the lanes as well. They still have their 15 minutes of warm-up prior to the start of this. So can Tom give us another run here? This should be easy after the
4-6-7
4-6-7 conversion.
Solid strike by Ron Hostler over on. Oh, and he kicks the 2-pin around the 10. You almost called it. Aaron, as he gets up to go film Pete McCordick on the front 9. Darn near called that 210 conversion. But 204. Tom Baker. Unfortunately, no bonus pins coming his way. Now Pete McCordick up on the approach. Front 9 on one of our 2 featured pairs. It looks left. And it was 3-6-10. Still convert that. Good fill, 277. Add your 30 bonus pins. And that's a plus 170 your total. There's Chris Keene coming off back-to-back opens, flagged a single pin, and then had I believe it was a 4-6-10. Get out there, spare ball.
My bad, Pete, my bad.
That one was further left than the previous one when you said hold. Oh, Ty Dawson begging for the high flush hit, and instead of getting out either the 4 or the 10, he leaves both the 4 and the 10.
Struggles continue for Croucher. And
both players on that pair struggling right now. Pete McCordick, solid 276. Add the 30 in. That's a plus 306 game, or plus 106 game.
Good old plus 106 in the books.
And in a way, he still did kind of get 300, just not in
the traditional sense. But
yeah.
So it looks like Alan Sapin in position to take game 1 against Ron Moore.
Ron left a 4-9 in the 8th frame on a strike, and that's kind of been the difference here. A strike instead of a 4-9, that match would have been just about even. But as it stands,
Advantage.
4-9. Advantage Saban.
Advantage to Daryl Bauer against Hugh Miller at the moment. Bauer stepping up in his 8th frame, working on a double. Close match between Ben Hafes and Takeo Sakai. But Ben working on the strike going into the 10th. So he'll have the opportunity to shut out. Pete McCordick with the big win over Tom Baker. Still anybody's match here on 21 and 22, and Ron Hostler
putting it on him
with the advantage heading into his 10th frame. He's going to have the chance to shut out Ty Dawson and grab an early 30 bonus pins. Double puts Keene up by 12.
Saban even with that open in the 10th will defeat Ron Moore.
So striking, or double here gives Keene the win, strike 9 spare. Same thing, but I'm sure he would prefer to double to do so. It's okay to be selfish in those situations here with total pins.
Absolutely.
That was nice.
Good shot by Keene.
That was nice.
Daryl Bauer probably going to shoot 227 if he picks up the single pin that he left. And that will give him the match win. Ron Moore doubles the 10th to get in the 2-0 range. He's still going to lose the match by 6, even if he strikes in the fill.
For the win here. Chris Keene's going to add 30.
Sakai 216 forces Hafes to spare and get 9, or just strike on the first shot.
Saban is going to record the win against Ron Moore, regardless of the open in the 10th. Daryl Bauer, W.
.205, Chris Keene.
Here's Ben up on 16. That looked a little fast, but he's going to get him to tumble.
We've seen some light hits like that leave not 1 but 2 and far apart.
.205 for Chris Keene is going to be more than enough here against Kevin Croucher. Daryl Bauer 227. Best Hugh Miller can get to 192.
Split in the 11th for Hafes, doesn't matter. Dawson 201, 8, no, 2, 202.
Daniel, I think you've explained it pretty perfectly there. Just seeing a lot of balls belabor to make the move. Yeah, it looked like that one was gonna make it up the hill, kind of get that going. I don't know if that's an actual thing, but
it is now.
I did a shoulder motion with it as well.
Yeah, you all missed that one.
You kind of lean into it more after you gotta get to pick up in the mid lane, because body language actually works. So 227 to 192, Bauer over Miller.
Croucher 181 on the miss, and just waiting on Ron Hostler right now. Trying to shoot 237. Got the first one to be in the 220s.
And not going to lean enough on the 10 on the second one, so 226 his max.
Go ahead and give it to him. And he picks up that spare. 226 in the books, plus the 30 bonus is a plus 56 on the score for Ron Hostler. Take a look at each pool. We'll just say pool A. Ron Moore still holds a lead over second place. Moore now is, let me go ahead and attach some plus minus numbers here. Moore holds a 127 pin lead over Daryl Bauer. 165 over Chris Keene. 14 pins down to Hugh Miller. Hugh Miller 30 pins ahead of Kevin Croucher, and the two numbers we're really looking at here is, of course, first place in each pool and then fourth place in each pool, as the bottom two in each are dropped after 6 games this afternoon. Our featured pairs in front of us, 19 and 20. We're going to have Takeo Sakai versus Ron Hostler, and already underway on 21 and 22, Daryl Bauer versus Alan Sabin. On the bottom pool, Pete McCordick jumps Ty Dawson to lead that. He is plus 587. Ty Dawson plus 534. Ben Hapes plus 517. Takeo Sakai plus 467. And there's a big drop. 76 pins down to Ron Hostler. I say it's a big drop, but Hostler made up a ton of ground right there, shooting 226 and getting the win. So he is at plus 391, and Tom Baker with that 204 and the L drops to last in his pool at plus 376.
Seriously, dude, you gotta teach me Excel.
So as far as the number one seeds in each pool go, Ron Moore has a 127 pin lead over second place Daryl Bauer, and Pete McCordick has a 53 pin lead over Ty Dawson. And then for the cutoff spot in each pool, Hugh Miller 30 pins over Kevin Croucher and 65 over Alan Sabin. And then in the second pool, Takeo Sakai 76 pin lead over Ron Hostler and a 91 pin lead over Tom Baker. Again, right in front of us, we've got Sakai versus Hostler on 19 and 20, Bauer versus Sabin on 21 and 22, McCordick versus Hafes on 23 and 24. To our left, looks like it is, I've got the pillar in the way. There we go. Dawson versus Baker on 13 and 14. Keene versus Moore, and 11 and 12. Miller versus Croucher. Croucher opens that game with a single pin and misses it. Chris Keene starts his game off with an open. Tom Baker starts his game off with an open. as did Saban right in front of us with a strike in the second.
I find it interesting based off of all the games these guys bowled that I think 3 of these guys did not hit 19 through 22. I think Alan Saban is the only one we actually got to see here on our featured pairs that I can recall. Maybe Ron. Maybe we caught Ron at one point.
I know we haven't seen Takeo Sakai.
But Ron with the pocket 7-10. Definitely got that one a little farther left off his hand. Definitely wasn't sure if it was going to motor all the way back. Was able to do so. But unfortunately ran out of a little steam. But if you're going to leave one, best place to leave it right here in frame number 1. Give yourself 9 good frames to make up for it. Here's Hostler in the second, far left of your screen. And the over adjustment gets him into big time trouble here, looking at a pair of opens. Bauer delivers his first strike here in game 2 of 6 of match play here at the Super Senior Classic once again. After today, we'll know our top 2 seeds for the stepladder finals. We'll be down to 8 total players left in the field, who will each have the opportunity to work their way into the main stepladder and into that title match. And 4 of them, count while you can. Leaving the 6-pin though, Hostler finds himself down early.
McCordick and Hafes over on 23 and 24, both of them with 1 strike and both of them with 1 split. All the way down on 11 and 12. Croucher has caught a double. Hugh Miller, strike, spare, strike, spare.
Sakai looking for the early double. Very loose swing, kind of loads up that elbow.
You know, it's kind of hard to tell from a distance the way the lighting is in here, but it looks like that Sakai is almost, it looks like he's using the ball that's got some polish on it.
I would agree with that. Alan Saban just made a ball change, and I think guys are getting tricked a little bit earlier from what they've seen throughout the course of it, and it just seems. Obviously, we just had Pete McCordick go to the front 9, so we got some scores out there. But it seems like some guys are kind of getting to that area where if you get too far left, there's a little bit too much labor and just a little bit too direct. You're flirting with that 4-9 a lot sooner than you'd like to on a good shot. Oh, how about that?
Very nice.
I like how Pete walked away from that one. Just feeling sorry for making it that way. just kind of gave Ben a look like, sorry, bro.
For those who may not have seen that, Pete left the 1-2-10 washout and hit the 1-2 pretty direct. And I think it was the 2 that kind of kicked off the sidewall, rolled back across the pin deck, and rolled into the 10-pin. You know, talking about these guys struggling out there We did have Pete on the front nine that first game. There was nothing else over 227, though, outside of his one game. Now, only 2 guys went minus the first game, but everybody within that kind of 220 to 2-0 range. 75% of the field. Sakai doesn't want to take that one. He has to. It's in the rules.
Those are the rules. For Bauer, relying more on his ball speed here to kind of keep those tight angles, but that one a little too direct up the lane and not going to wrinkle from there. As we've seen with all these sneaky gutters that we haven't actually seen in person, other than that one from Ty Dawson last game.
Puts a good shot on a good break. 4-bagger for Sakai. Hugh Miller down on 11 and 12 after missing an early single pin, has strung 4 in a row. And from this angle, it looks like on that 4-bagger, he washes out. Up against Kevin Croucher, who was clean through 5 and then split in the 6th. So despite the washout and possible open, Miller still with a lead over Croucher midway through the game, just past midway.
Hostler 3 in a row after back-to-back splits to start game number 2 against Sakai. Alan Sabin looking to get something going here. Daryl Bauer gives him an opportunity to throw a double, get this under single digits. He's going to stick with that same ball, and that's going to not make it either.
Hugh Miller did not convert that washout, but he still holds. I can't see that far. Might as well use live scoring.
Looks like 19.
But okay. So if it's 119, he holds a 14-pin lead over Kevin Croucher.
You don't get thick glasses like this for nothing. So Sabin has tried 2 different balls here on 21 and 22. Neither of them really giving him a great look. Daryl Bauer actually went and got something from his bag, so we'll see if he makes the change after the washout in frame 5. Sakai working on 4 in a row, stepping up in frame 6, looking to keep the momentum going, as Hostler has added 4 of his own. That's going to have to hustle.
Yes, it is. Get the 10 out. What's standing? 2? Oh, nothing, just the 10. He leaves 1, 2, 3, 4 pins on the deck.
Been there, man, been there.
Actually 5 pins, including the one that's standing, that 10 pin. Kevin Croucher goes runaway Brooklyn, leaves a 5 pin down there. He's still searching for anything. Down 19. Miller put a strike on the back end of that washout. Croucher with a probable spare here. Down 19 already. This could be a 29 pin deficit with 3 frames to go.
Ty Dawson well in control at the moment against Tom Baker over on 15 and 16. And uh-oh. Miscue from Sakai. And Ron Hostler says, I like opportunities.
Sabin sticks to that same ball. Well, he got the 10 out of the 2-10 combo that time.
I feel he's in a situation where he's just trying to throw it better in the same spot. And I think we've all been there before, where we might be tricked to think we're right there, we're close, and just I'm not throwing it as good as I can be, because we really haven't seen him try to get away from that particular spot. Down lane, at least. It's been right around that same point.
Do you know what that's called?
What's that called, Daniel?
Trying to out bowl bad ball reaction.
Oh, I do that all the time.
We ask, as competitors, we ask so much of ourselves and our abilities. It's only fair that we ask the same from our equipment. And while we're always our harshest critics, at this level, bowlers are their harshest critics. They're, at the level a step below, your typical league bowlers, your Joe bowlers, maybe not so much want to blame themselves, more blaming the lane or the equipment, and even those of us that are competitors, sometimes we won't blame ourselves, but more often than not, we do. And it's only fair that we look at it with an unbiased view and go, okay, I've got to believe that I'm throwing the ball as great as I can, and I'm as good as I can be. And if the ball's not giving me what I need, I don't need to ask 110% of myself when the ball is giving me 50.
That's a great rundown right there. Bauer ended up sticking with the same ball he's been using and wraps the 10 there on 22.
Croucher missed the single pin he left in the. Also, he missed that 5 pin then. Croucher missed the 5 pin in the 7th, 9 spare in the 8th. And I think Hugh Miller just went through the face and carried all 10. Yes, he did.
Yeah, he was going to take that match.
Yes, he
get
is.
the 30. Ron Moore well on pace to do the same against Christopher Keene. Keene with 92 in the 7th. Ty Dawson still striking. He can shoot 280 this game against Tom Baker. So Tom Baker's opponents not doing him any favors at the moment. Can Hostler add one more here? Oh. And he almost left an 8 pin earlier on that lane.
Yes, he did.
And got it out late. And it's better. Oh man, I thought that was going to pick up there.
Nope.
It did not. Made a terrible call. So that our match on 1920 essentially all knotted up here.
Late 10 to fall for Ron Moore. Croucher shooting another single pin. Knocks that one down.
Ben Hafes in control over on 23 and 24, but just has a 7-10 of his own standing up in frame number 8.
Still with a lead.
Yeah, still going to be up,
but
20 plus. And can Saban get anything going here? Because Bauer has given him some opportunities. It's still
staying with that same ball.
Still can keep it within 10 here. A couple marks. But want to see something.
Croucher in the 10th through the face, left something makeable, I think a 6-10. Saban goes a little straighter.
All right, there we go.
Well, the best way to fix a ball that isn't hooking on the back end is give it less room to hook. Straighten everything up. Don't ask so much of it.
And with one more strike just like that, it will be a 1-pin match. Sakai now finds himself down against Hostler. 1 pin heading into the 9th and 10th with the conversion.
Hafes, high flush almost through the face, 6-10. Something comes over off the wall and knocks it out. 171 for Croucher. That will be a loss. Saban gave them a little more room than he did the previous one, flat 10.
Ty Dawson ends his string of strikes in frame number 9, but still can shoot 259 this game. Max for Tom Baker, 229. Kordic continues to strike over on 23 and 24. He's in starting the 10th frame. And makes it 4 in a row now. He can max out 214. So Benny would need the first one if that was the case to get the win. Otherwise, a chance for a tie if he goes strike spare, anything less. That would be what the kids call a comeback victory. For Pete McCordick, ball change for Daryl Bauer. And that one dead flush.
McCordick liked it, and for good reason.
2 splits early. Put him down by, let's see, he was down 53 in the 6th frame. And 21 is giving Daryl Bauer fits right now. That is his 3rd consecutive washout.
Hugh Miller punches for the 244 to 171 victory over Croucher.
And McCordick finishes off 214. Ty Dawson gets the first strike in the 10th, but not the second one, but he's going to be in the 240s regardless. And folks are averaging 260 against Tom Baker so far. An improbable situation going on here on 21 and 22 based off of, if we would have watched either of these guys not knowing what the other opponent did, we'd probably be saying they're going to be in a tough shape to get a win, but
oh no.
That's a big oh no.
Ben Hafes needed the first strike to win the match, spare strike to tie, and goes 2-4-10.
Hostler with a 7-10 to start the 10th. .249 finish for Ty Dawson.
He converted that 2-4-10?
He did.
Attaboy. 249. Best that Tom Baker can do is 29.
Alan Saban can step up here in the 10th and shut out. After 3 opens in his first 5 frames.
Ben Hafes 200 even. Did not convert. Which means Pete McCordick got the win on a clutch 3 shots in the 10th.
That's going to have to hustle.
That is not going to hustle.
Bauer will have a chance to step up here in the 10th and win this one. After the 7-10 in frame number 10 for Ron Hostler, 205. Any type of mark for Takeo Sakai. He's collecting 30 bonus pins. 257 finish for Ron Moore in a victory over Christopher Keene. Keene still has his 10th frame to go. Sakai.
Ooh.
Boom. It's going to be a winner. Just needs any type of pinfall here will be gravy. 218 finish for Tom Baker. Christopher Keene can max out at 161. Count important here for Alan Saban.
Sakai with the double.
So ball change here, going back to one of them he used earlier. That one
hooked more.
That one definitely faced up, but he was using that ball in that other zone and seeing it hustle or seeing it struggle to make the move. And so that's where you almost want that ball in between those two. It looks like to kind of get there, but the count importance is going to force Daryl Bauer to double.
And this is kind of what we talked about right here. Saban, even though he shot 165, he shoots 165 and wins. the guy above him in the standings who shot 171 and lost, you gain more pins. It's just math. Bauer. Light 2 pins, not going to get the roll. Saban's going to get the win.
Keene finished with 151 that game.
Sakai 225.
Just like that, we'll be ready for game 3.
In front of us, we will have Alan Saban versus Hugh Miller. And Ron Hostler is going to jump over one pair, and as is Benny Hapes. So Hostler moves one pair to the right, Hapes one pair to the left. All of a sudden, they're on the treacherous 21 and 22.
160 finish there for Bauer. In the loss, 165, enough to get the job done. Alan Saban. And he doesn't have to bowl on 21-22 anymore today. Potentially, depending on where the position round falls. All right, folks, we have moved into game number 3 across the house here of 6 in match play, 2019 Super Senior Classic. Aaron Smith with USBC Communications, joined by former Junior Team USA member and current member of the Open Championships Media Relations staff, Daniel Farish. So we're going to get down to our top 8 players and learn our top 2 for tomorrow's stepladder finals. 19 and 20, Alan Saban taking on Hugh Miller. For Alan, who's now starting to see that ball read the spot. And at 21 and 22, Ben Hafes taking on Ron Hostler. For Hugh, he's going to get to follow some traffic on the left side as Hostler was on 19 and 20 last game. His first 2 matches, essentially catching the fresh over and over again. Like his footing got him a little bit there. So goes through the nose, leaves at the 2-4. No problem on the spare, though. Looks like a different ball than we've generally been seeing in Ben's hands as well. So certainly the tricky part of the sport, battling the invisible opponent as the oil pattern continues to transition. Challenging the players to kind of figure out what their eyes and ball motion are telling them. Hostler, after starting with a pair of his splits in game 2, says, I like this much better. Early double to take the lead.
So I don't know if Aaron ran through the standings yet or not, but we'll give you a quick update. In Pool A, Ron Moore with a 191 pin lead over second place Hugh Miller. It's 244 pins between Ron Moore and Darrell Bauer. 301 pins back to Chris Keene. And then Keene is fourth in Pool A. He has a 24 pin lead over Kevin Croucher and a 33 pin lead over Alan Sabin. In Pool B, sort that real quick. Ty Dawson with a 22 pin lead over Pete McCordick up in first. 91 pin lead over Takeo Sakai. 96 pin lead over Ben Hafes. But the big number, Hafes in fourth with a 121 pin lead over Ron Hostler. And it's 5 more pins back to Tom Baker. As Sabin again, still fighting that ball motion. We look down on the far end of the house. Darrell Bauer, Chris Keene squaring off there even through 3. Ty Dawson, Pete McCordick. Dawson, spare 3-bagger. McCordick, double split spare. So Dawson with the upper hand there as he shoots a single pin in the 5th frame on that 3-bagger and knocks it down. A 10-pin match between Ron Moore and Kevin Croucher. Croucher with the 10-pin advantage as they both are up in the 5th frame.
Daniel, when I was out and about right after the end of this game, as players go to a new pair, it's one of those things where I think I caught something, you know, just an interesting note or something like that. And as a top-notch competitor as well, Uh, after his first shot, I heard Ron Moore say, Ty must have been on this pair. So Ty Dawson playing the lanes a particular way, probably has been playing them a particular way throughout the course of the week. And Ron going to that pair noticed something in his ball reaction that, maybe he wasn't paying attention to who was it in front of him or not, or maybe he made the shot he wanted to make and it didn't react the way, and he knows he should have made the move because Ty was on said pair.
Is that on the pair he's on now?
The pair he just went to on 15 and 16, so Ty Dawson was there the game before.
Yes, he was.
As a competitor, what are you looking for from a player like that? Obviously, Ty has probably got one of the higher rev rates left in the field, but what did you think Ron saw from probably what Ty was doing to the lane that caused him to, he didn't strike on that shot, made him see something different or miss a move or whatever it may have been to have him recognize that from Ty's game?
Well, Ty's playing a little deeper than most of the field. He and Ron are in a similar area of the lane, but I also think that Ty is using more surface than most people in the field. So if a guy with a higher rev rate is a little bit left of you, throwing more surface, all you got to do is do the math there. That's going to cause the heads to go away a little sooner if he's using that more surface, and that's going to be not just the heads, but kind of the path of the ball down the lane through the mid lane. So that means that if you miss left, you're not going to have the hold you would expect to have, and it could also mean that if you're on top of where he's at, your ball's going to pick up sooner than you expected. So you're going to see more hook than you thought. As I watch Ty go 2-8-10 on his next shot as we're talking about him. That's kind of what you're going to see. I don't typically look at people in front of me. Back when, I think it was 2016, when every competitive player between the ages of 18 and 35 learned what urethane was and started throwing it on every single pattern, I would kind of watch when I was crossing, okay, if I'm playing the gutter, because that's typically where they threw it, was somebody throwing urethane in front of me? But nowadays, to expect that, so you don't look for it anymore because you know that 80% of the field is going to be throwing urethane. So I don't really look at the guys that are in front of me as far as what they're doing to the lanes because of my style. I'm typically further right than most, so I don't have to deal with those guys are so much further left than me. Usually, I don't have to deal with it. And with my release, I kind of push the ball down the lane naturally, so I'm not going to see what they do isn't going to disrupt my ball as much as a higher rev guy. Tom Baker trying to pick up his first W of the afternoon. Catches a double after Sakai splits in the sixth frame.
Bakes 0-2 and at plus 394 finds himself 123 pins outside of the top four at the moment in Group B. A little bit closer on Group A side outside of that top spot where Ron Moore nearly up by 200 pins. Croucher just 24 pins behind, but 0-2, and as you mentioned, just has not looked too comfortable out here so far in the early going to match play. And Alan Sabin, who has won both of his matches, has been able to kind of dig himself a little bit closer, 33 pins out of the top four. Only two players 2-0 so far, McCordick and Sabin. But that's the crazy part of match play too. McCordick's 490, so he's averaging 245. So even though it's kind of was a higher game and a lower game to get there, you're not surprised by that.
No.
Sabin, 376 for his two games, averaging less than 190. 2-0.
But when you're Pete McCordick and you were second in your pool coming in, you can shoot. He could afford to shoot 400 even and win both his matches. Alan Sabin, when you're last in your pool coming in, you're going to need to shoot more than 376 scratch, regardless of your record. I mean, that's a 188 average for 2 wins. He's not going to crawl out of the bottom 2 averaging 188, even if he wins all his matches.
Definitely would need some.
He needs some help.
Some assistance from his opponents. in that aspect.
Well, Kevin Croucher's ball motion is trying to help out his opponents because he has had horrible ball motion at least the last 2.5 games, if not the last 6.5 games, going back to his last 4. And after missing a single pin in the 6th, Croucher leaves a 6-7 and misses both of them.
And Ron Moore hasn't been particularly Ron Morey in this particular, I said particular a lot there, game.
You said Ron Morian too. That was awesome.
But one open, no doubles, but back-to-back opens from Croucher, including a missed single pin, makes that now a 2-pin match to where Croucher should be running away. Ron Moore tries to figure out 15 and 16. Great shot there from Hugh Miller to record the double. Ben gets his first strike. Here in game number 3, clean through the front 5 before delivering all back there on 21.
Oh, he got that one left, Hugh Miller did.
Oh.
Ooh.
Oh. Be so mean, Hugh. Be so mean.
That was all the ball right there.
Hostler now 5 out of 6.
Continuing his striking ways. Baker looking to keep the pressure on Sakai. Great shot. Ron Moore with an 8-pin lead over Kevin Croucher with 2 frames to go.
Oh, 21 and 22.
Yeah. Late 7-pin falls for Sakai. 10-pin stands. Tom Baker now has that match under control with a 23-pin lead. Daryl Bauer with a commanding 36-pin lead over Christopher Keene as Bauer strikes in the 9th. He can max out this game at 249. Keene.
I was gonna say right now with the with Group A, those top or bottom 3 guys right now are trying to get something going here, because it's one of those situations where it's almost like, I don't want it, you want it, you take it.
Yeah, that's exactly what it is.
For that final spot. Waiting for someone to get the look, get hot here, and
Sakai misses.
take control of it.
It just popped up on my scoring. I wasn't looking up when he did it. Missed another single pin. He missed one a couple games ago on our featured pair.
Oh.
Oh, ace with the open.
It'll be about 30 pins the advantage to Hostler. 8th, 9th, and 10th to go. Hugh Miller looking for 5 in a row.
Good Good shot. Great shot by Hugh Miller right there. Pete McCordick is trying to force Ty Dawson to mark in the 10th. He can punch out for 200. If Dawson spare strikes, he shoots 205. McCordick with the half pocket did not get the 10 out. He's probably going to shoot 190. Saban's still throwing whatever that green ball is.
He didn't start off this game with it, but switched back to it. And now, after...
Is that 235 for Daryl Bauer down there?
235, yes, sir. So that is going to be a victory. Looks like Keene can get to 190.
That's what it looks like. Moore asking a little bit more out of his ball than it wanted to give as he leaves the half 7.
Well, he needed that one for the victory. Kevin Croucher finished at 201, so it's going to drop Ron's max to 191. So Croucher on the board with a W.
First one of the afternoon. Moore runs it down.
Sakai finishes with 192. Baker can get to 237. He's also going to collect his first victory here. Pete McCordick finishes with 190. Ty Dawson's just going to need a decent count here.
And he gets it.
That is more than decent count. Ty can still get to 225 this game. That's a big win for him right now because McCordick was second in his pool. Hugh.
Moore strikes for 191. Hafes didn't like it off his hand, and for good reason. That win right there is going to go to Hostler. And Tom Baker, 216 and the win. His first win of the afternoon.
Christopher Keene finished with 190 that game. Dawson delivered the double in the 10th, so he can still get to 225 with one more strike. Hugh Miller is going to collect a victory over Alan Saban, just a matter of final score.
Strike for Dawson.
225. It's going to be our second biggest game in the stepladder, or the, match play. For the 270 in the opener from Pete McCordick.
Ironically, first of all, it came on the same pair.
It's true.
And
from different sides.
Saban's going to shoot his highest game of match play and lose.
How about that? Match play. It'll get you.
66. Very nice game.
Hostler, so it's 242 out there. Saban, as we mentioned, decent count's going to have his high game so far in match play, but will be for his first loss. Two, 1-4. This is the final game ongoing at the moment for game 3, so we are transitioning to the second half of match play right after this.
All right, Hostler is one of the 2 guys left. I've got to get video of a strike.
This is true. You've been clouding him.
Got him.
I knew you could do it.
242. All right. Do a little sort action here.
Sorting.
Let's see what we got. Okay, well, 1 through 6 did not change in Pool B. Ty Dawson with a 57-pin lead over Pete McCordick. It's 93 pins. Make that 97 pins from McCordick back to Sakai. Sakai has a 20-pin lead on Hafes. The cut that matters, Hafes 26 pins ahead of Hostler in 5th, and it's 57 pins from Hafes back to Tom Baker in 6th. In Pool A, Ron Moore, 86-pin lead over Hugh Miller, a 170-pin lead over Daryl Bauer. Kevin Croucher jumps back into the top 4. He has a 17-pin lead over Chris Keene in 5th. And Alan Sabin, despite his highest game of the match play so far, takes a loss. He is 26 pins behind Croucher.
So this is tightened up here with Croucher and Keene struggling. Sabin with those 60 bonus pins right now, kind of getting in the mix.
1 bowler remains that is undefeated. Scratch that. No bowler is undefeated.
All right.
I can't read my own computer handwriting.
That is tough. You can see Ron Moore tell himself to calm it down a little bit here. Taking on Daryl Bauer, Takeo Sakai, and Ty Dawson on 21 and 22. Christopher Keene taking on Hugh Miller over on 23 and 24. Pete McCordick and Ron Hostler on our other featured pair over on 15 and 16. Kevin Croucher and Alan Sabin. And way over there. Is Ben Hafes and Tom Baker.
And all the numbers we brought you were correct.
All right, all right, all right. Better shot from Moore.
You were not Matthew McConaughey. Sorry.
Well, not a young McConaughey, but at least like a middle-aged McConaughey.
That's when he was at his best.
Technically, hasn't he always been middle-aged?
I think so. Even at 20, the man had the facial features of a 41-year-old. And then at 61, he's going to have the facial features of a 41-year-old.
If we could all be that lucky.
Not sure. Ron Moore sitting at the table in front of us just shaking his head and drops his head. He is, I don't know if it's shot making or ball motion, but he's unhappy with something.
And I think it's already a little bit closer than we thought it was going to get between him and the rest of Group A, if you will. What did we say, 86?
86. He has been 1 and 2. His scratch, he's plus 53 for the set. Hugh Miller right behind him, plus 102 with 30 more bonus pins.
You can see here that Bauer has moved into a different part of the lane than when we saw him on 21 and 22, and both of those shots crossing over for him.
Pivotal match down on 11 and 12, Hafes and Baker. Hafes currently 4th place in Pool B. Baker is in 6th, sitting 54 pins behind Hafes. Similar situation on lanes 13 and 14. The number 4 seed in Pool A, Kevin Croucher, facing the number 6 seed, Alan Sabin, except there the deficit a little closer. Only 26 pins separates the two. Of course, we do have this match and one more before we take a short break for all the scores to be calculated for our final game, the position round.
Position round, let's go. You know when we talked about trying to outbowl bad ball reaction?
Yes.
I feel Ron Moore could do that if he had to. He's like the most interesting man in the world in that aspect. I feel that would be a great segment for, of course, that ad series. If we were to take it in a bowling route, Ron Moore could be that man.
I think you could make money off of that ad.
Yes.
I also believe, like a lot of advertisements, that it would be a lie. Not because he is not that gentleman. He does not portray that attitude, that persona, but because you can't outbowl bad ball reaction. It is a hard and fast rule.
That's what would make him the most interesting man, if he could.
If he could, you are correct. Tell you what, he has had, with the exception of a few pairs here and there, especially this morning, he has had excellent ball motion. The ball's going through the pins the right way. He's been making all the right adjustments. I mean, he is on top of it. Bauer a little left. No? Good.
All right, that's, as you mentioned, his previous two shots had crossed over to the 1-2 side. But that one definitely got steep enough through the fronts to find the sweet spot down lane.
A little further down, both Hafes and Baker down on 11 and 12, started with a double. Hafes left a makeable 8-count spare and chopped it. Baker with a 8-count split and got one, so they're tied at 56 through 3 frames. Croucher and Sabin. Croucher flags a single pin in the third on a strike. Sabin is up in the third, has been strike spare. And then 15 to 16. Hostler and McCordick trading spare, strike, spare, strike, spare, strike. Back and forth at each other.
Going big time on 23 and 24, however. Hugh Miller and Christopher Keene just one non-strike through 5 frames.
Both of them need strikes to achieve a goal. Hugh Miller to try and catch and pass Ron Moore for that Pool A lead. And then Christopher Keene, after back-to-back 151, 190 games that both resulted in losses, he's trying to put some room between himself and that number 4 spot. He's currently 5th in Pool A, just, I believe, 17 pins behind Croucher as Keene strikes in the 6th.
For Ty Dawson, just got away with 2 hits, if you will, on 21 and 22, both the way we've seen things go. Certainly would not have been surprised if he would have been shooting at spare or some splits there. Turns it into 3 in a row, however, as Sakai bounces back after the washout in frame 3.
Moore and Dawson both with very similar leads over the second place in their respective pools, 86 pins and 87 pin lead. Question is, will either one of them or both of them hold on to their leads and guarantee them a spot in the final stepladder tomorrow afternoon?
Moore looking to change that right now with a strong start against Darrell Bauer. 4 in a row now.
Saban looking to take advantage after Croucher flagged a single pin, and Saban 6-count split and missed all of them. Hugh Miller looking for the front 7.
I think he's found something this block.
He had that ball on 19 and 20, just bending the gutter and striking at will. After going 192 the first game, he's went 244, 266. Ron Moore, high flush.
Ron's not messing around. He's on.
He can't.
So far on our featured lanes, he has struck on 17 of 18 shots.
Yeah, you're right.
This business venture could work.
Assuming this match ends in a positive way and he's in a good mood, we should remind him of that.
Very close match between McCordick and Hostler over on 15 and 16. Still a doozy on 23 and 24. Dawson adds another one. And oh.
Was that Brooklyn?
That was Brooklyn.
With weird pinfall.
With the weird late 5 fallout. Not the way you wanted to do it, but
I think we're going to see some movement this game.
Do have some strikes in our immediate area. Looks like over on the low end of the house, it's not quite as striky.
I just witnessed Tom Baker crumble the 2-4-5 from about 10 lanes away. Hugh Miller did not like that shot at all. Thankful he left was a 2-pin through the face.
With the spare, he'll hold a 1-pin lead.
Which puts the advantage back in Ron Moore's pocket as far as that race for first place goes.
We could call it Rollin' Ron, where we roll from pair to pair. Live streaming Ron Moore.
Are they going to wait for us to move all the cameras?
We'd
have to go portable. I mean,
it'd have to be some type of portable situation, yes.
Yeah,
so we'd have to work on our Wi-Fi. But we could have the smiley faces on our shirts. Pete McCordick looking to add another strike here against Ron Hostler.
Oh.
And looks like he got a crumbler.
Sakai was already down a bunch to Dawson this game, and he chops the 6-10 off of the 6-9-10.
Oh, Miller gets the pin across the deck, doesn't kick it though. Just like that, after the front 7, he finds himself potentially losing this match on the bench. Chris Keene could step up here and throw the next 3 strikes.
Moore got it out a little bit. Carries the Swisher pocket. Good shot by Sakai right there. Right now, he's just trying to salvage the game as best he can.
That's really all you can do in this situation. Obviously, with total pinfall, so important here. Want to be doing that, but if there's ever an opportunity to potentially look at a home run type move, swing for the fence.
Oh, wow.
Switch.
Sakai only holds has a 46-pin lead. He is third in his pool, 46-pin lead over fifth Ron Hostler, who is currently down in his match, but clean with a couple of doubles and is outscoring Sakai. So, and as soon as I say that, I look down and see Ron Hostler shooting the 3.79.
He's going to be in trouble as McCordick
Yes, he is.
continues to look strong. Christopher Keene got that first strike, or got the strike in the 9th, excuse me. So he can double in the 10th and sneak away with this W.
Strike 9 spare in the 10th for Keene, but force Miller to get all 3 for the W. McCordick strikes to increase his advantage over Hostler. Croucher with 3 in a row.
And looking at the top overall seed implications here, Ty Dawson's putting up a game, and this is his game to make up ground on Ron Moore, and Ron Moore says, not so fast.
And Dawson was 47 behind Moore for the overall number 1 seed. I like that.
Gets that one away, but everything's still together. Still has 250s out there.
Ron Moore's watching, because as soon as Dawson's ball hit the pins and missed the head pin, Ron stood up, got his towel, and got ready for his next shot. And he's looking over at that pair right now.
Chris Keene for the win. Comes in light, so.
There's that 9 spare. 267 on the conversion. Meanwhile, 7-10 for Hostler over on 16.
That snuck up a few times for him here in match play.
McCordick is going to get the win down there. .267 for Keene. Moore looking for that 290.
He can no longer have the
Miller liked it.
295 average shot.
Miller liked it. 1 down, 2 to go.
And yet to see a tie here in match play. 2-2-2.
Possibilities out there.
There's that. It had been a while since we had something like that.
Moore converts the 4-pin.
It's going to drop his potential average here on our featured pair on Bold TV down to. Oh my goodness! Wow.
Hugh Miller stuffs an 8-pin. Needed all 3 to win the match by 1. He can convert this to shoot 258, lose the match by 9 pins. As Chris Keene, sitting in 5th in his pool, a much needed W.
Wow. That is just vicious.
Brutal.
And Keene sitting back there had that Brooklyn trip 5.
Meanwhile, Tom Baker has taken quite an advantage over Ben Hafes down on the far pair. 258, 267. Baker could have punched for 25. He goes nine count in the 10th. But if he can spare this and get 9, he would shut out Hafes, who can max at 202. He picks up the 7 pin. Hostler strike for 194. McCordick can punch out for an even 270. As Moore strikes there in the 11th, putting himself in the 260s.
If he strikes, he's going to only be averaging 284.5 on our featured pairs. So I think that's still a good business pitch. It would have been better. 295 sounds better. It's cleaner.
Baker, I think, has got 203.
203 for Tom Baker.
Got the 9 count that he needed to shut out Hafes. Now Hafes just needs to double here and get as many pins as possible. It's like Saban's going to shoot 191. And Croucher just needs a mark. Nope, take that back. Strike spare or spare strike for the match win over Saban. He can get 192 on a spare strike. That's left. Brooklyn carries it.
So there's 10, now to get to 20.
McCordick with the strike to shoot 248.
Not going to gain any ground, or very minimal ground on Ty Dawson.
Croucher leaves the
So the
6-9, the ever popular 6-9 spare that you never see in bowling. You don't see it on house shots anyway. That's one of those sports shot type leaves.
For sure.
And he converts it for the 1 pin win. 192 for Croucher, plus the 30 bonus.
But as close as he and Christopher Keene were, that's going to flip the script, as the kids used to say. Don't think they say it very often anymore. Ty Dawson's going to be in the 230s, so McCordick will gain a few pins, but still going to be pretty sizable heading into the final 2.
Ben Hafes 192.
192, yep.
Okay. Bauer strike for 206. Make that wrap 10 for 205.
And there's enough separation between Bauer and Croucher and Keene that he's still holding fairly strong for that 3 spot. .231 for Dawson, but claims the victory.
Well, a lot has changed. Ron Moore, with 2 games to go, holds a 127-pin lead over Hugh Miller. The big swing there was, even though Miller was only 11 pins scratch behind Moore, he lost the match with 258. So he actually lost 41 pins between himself and Moore. Looking at the 4th spot in that pool, Daryl Bauer holds a 40-pin lead over Chris Keene and a 155-pin lead over Alan Sabin. Down in Pool B, Ty Dawson only lost 17 pins to McCordick, so Dawson leads McCordick for the number 1 spot in Pool B by 70. And then it's a blanket over the bottom 4 in that pool. Takeo Sakai at plus 491, Ron Hostler at plus 462. Our featured pairs in front of us, we're going to have 19 and 20. Dawson and Hafes versus, or Dawson versus Hafes on 19 and 20. 21 and 22, Ron Moore versus Hugh Miller. And Hugh Miller with a 145-pin lead over 3rd place in that pool, which is now Kevin Croucher. So we're probably going to see Moore versus Miller 2 matches in a row here, because this is the final match before position round. Down on 23 and 24 are going to be Bauer versus Croucher, the 3 and the 4 up in Pool A. And 21 and 22 is Miller and Moore, 1 and 2 in Pool A. 19 and 20, we will see Ty Dawson versus Ben Hafes. Dawson and Hafes are 1 and 4 in Pool B. '15 and 16, we've got Sabin versus Keene. They are 5 and 6 in Pool A. Of course, Sabin 115 behind Keene. Keene 40 out of that 4th place. It's like a bit of a correction in Pool A. Ron Moore still holds a 127-pin lead over Hugh Miller. 3rd, Daryl Bauer, 264 back of Ron Moore. 4th, this is where the change comes in, Chris Keene, 304 behind Ron Moore. 5th is Kevin Croucher. He is 58 behind Keene. And Sabin still 6th, 115 out of the 4th place spot. You know, if you're Hugh Miller, you have to shake that last game off. You shot 258. You made a very high quality shot when you needed all 3 in the 10th. You made a great shot in the 11th. Just stuffed an 8-pin. You know, like you said earlier, those hits they're going to come throughout a tournament. You just don't want them to come in a moment like this.
Yeah, that's definitely going to sting in hopes of getting to that or getting to more. But the same token, he shot 768 his last 3 games. So he's gained 168 pins the natural way. But Such service now from Greg Moore. Game by game updates, hand delivered.
Hand delivered, that's the thing.
Man. Here I am writing things down with a pen and paper like a pilgrim.
You're so old school.
That's okay. I have a question in the chat from Judith about Pool A and Pool B. And Judith, we will definitely tackle this question for you because it's a very good one because this is definitely a unique format here. Essentially, after this morning's cash rounds, we went from 50 players down to 12. So instead of having all 12 players in one match play group and bowling 12 games of round robin, we split them up into groups of 6. So one group we'll call Group A, one group Group B. So instead of bowling 12 games of round robin, each group just bowls 6. Same as usual with bonus pins and all that stuff. 30 for a win, 15 for a tie, 0 for a loss. But essentially just kind of cuts down the games a little bit and allows us to have this cool, unique group stepladder final tomorrow. So some extra bonus bowling in the always dramatic and fun one-game format as well. But from Group A and Group B, we will have 2 players earn spots in the main stepladder final, including 1 player, whoever it may be at the moment. It's Ron Moore on pace to B. It would be the top overall seed. Fall bowling ended right now. Ty Dawson would be the other player earning an automatic spot in the main stepladder final. He would be guaranteed the number 2 seed, which would mean in Group A, Hugh Miller, Daryl Bauer, and Christopher Keene would bowl in that first stepladder, try and make the main stepladder. And in Group B, Pete McCordick, Takeo Sakai, and Ben Hafes. It is close though in Group B. That is
the match to watch is on 13 and 14 between Baker and Hostler. Those guys 5th and 6th in Pool B. I think they are dead even. They've both went spare, double spare this game as Baker throws a strike in the 5th. Sakai, who is 3rd in that pool, taking on Pete McCordick, who is 2nd. 2-pin difference there. And then Ben Hafes right in front of us, taking on the pool leader, Ty Dawson. Hugh Miller got a hold of that one at the bottom of his hand. 2-4-7.
Christopher Keene continuing his striking ways after 260s last game. Front 4 against Alan Sabin and peaking at the right time. Just 2 players 3-1 so far. I think that's a pretty interesting stat at the moment. And everybody in Group A is 2-2 so far, so essentially a wash across the board for bonus pins at the moment.
It must be something about lane 24 because Bauer just stoned an 8-pin himself, which is what Hugh Miller did about 10 minutes ago to lose that match. Recover, Ty Dawson.
Oh, ho, ho, ho. Let's get it.
Not supposed to throw pins around like that.
This could be a early preview of what's going to happen once again. Our next match on 21 and 22, as this very well could be, and most likely will be, the position round matchup for Moore and Miller as the 1 and 2 seeds. But can Hugh do enough to make it a match? That is going to be the question at the moment, because right now it's more than 100 pins, 127 to be exact. The difference between these two. I like how many angles there are to this. There's just
Oh, no.
so many scenarios, and doesn't lose the count, but chance for Hugh to step up double, and
he's left a spare that I think I've chopped 80% of the time I've shot it.
So,
every time I kick the 4 around the 7.
So what do we call this one without the 8-pin, but with the addition of the 7?
I call this my own personal hell. Don't do what I do. Don't do what I do, Ron.
Hard and straight. Holds the fair. Opportunity time here for Hugh Miller.
He is destroying his TV pair average.
This is true. Our business model has gone down the window. If we remember, though, this was particularly this lane gave Hugh some trouble many hours ago to start competition earlier today. Still in great position here at the halfway point to take the match. Christopher King got to 5 in a row before a 9 spare in the 6th. Putting himself in position to create some distance from Croucher and Saban.
Down on the low end, we mentioned Sakai. 3rd place in Pool B, just 29 pins ahead of 6th. He is on a max of 277 through 6, and he has a 21 pin lead over Pete McCordick. So Sakai has got the lead just past halfway in that match.
Splits of the 8-9.
Hugh Miller, quality shot. Keeping the pressure on Ron Moore. McCordick, back-to-back, 2-8. Leaves. Made the first one. Digging himself a 30-pin deficit to Sakai. Hostler put himself in a position to needing a win against Tom Baker and vice versa. And I believe they're going to be tied through 7 frames if he converts this 3-pin. Yes, they will be.
Oh. 8-10 for Daryl Bauer.
Ooh.
He's starting to lose momentum in that match against Kevin Croucher, and that will certainly deflate the tires.
Kevin Croucher just opened up the driver's side door, sat in the driver's side seat, looked in the rearview mirror and said, "I'm the driver now."
That was an excessive use of the word driver, but necessary to describe the situation. Ron Moore bounces back with the double, but finds himself down 31 at the moment.
And Sakai goes right through the face on 277 max and strikes. Well, he didn't quite slap it out just like you did. He more or less dropped his head and was like, what in the world? Okay, you thank the bowling gods for that one and run away.
Take him when you can get him. High flush for another one.
Oof.
So 31 and 30 to be 61, which would essentially split the difference right there. If both players were to strike out from here on out. It's better shot from Ben. Digs it out 3 in a row, holds a 2-pin lead. Heading into the 9th and the 10th.
Hugh Miller, another high flush. Croucher converts.
Great shot there from Ty. Keeping pace, once again, Pete McCordick. The only player in range for him at the moment.
Ball looks left. It's very left.
And this is starting to get interesting here for Group A. And just uncharacteristic from Ron Moore.
You want to get that count. Tom Baker with the strike. Puts an 11-pin lead over Ron Hostler. Double. Trip 4 for the double, I believe. Yes, sir. Meanwhile, McCordick shooting a single pin spare. He's down 22 to Sakai as they go into the 9th frame.
He's been using that same spare ball for a while now, at least through the.
We have, yeah.
It's 50 pins a game better on the left than it is on the right.
That's the beauty of being set up right behind the lane. Sometimes you can hear conversation between the players and either spectators or tournament staff or even the broadcasters ourselves. We weren't sure if Ron Moore was talking to us or somebody behind us, but he was asking if we knew what pair position round was going to be on, saying that 21 and 22, it took me a minute to understand what he said, but said this pair is 50 pins different between the left side and the right side. He's very unhappy with the way the right side of this pair is broken down. Ironically, this is the pair he shot 300 on yesterday, and I did tell him in the interview after bowling, the first question I asked was, how were you able to conquer the lane that has given everyone problems? And he said, oh, really? I said, yes, that lane has, that pair, especially 22, has been an issue for everybody. And while he may be frustrated with the score that Hugh Miller's putting up, I don't know how much Ron's been watching Hugh the last 2 hours, but this is not an anomaly for Hugh Miller.
He's
mentioned it. Shot 768.
Yep.
The last 3 games coming into this. He's going to shoot 66 this game.
So this 10th frame coming up for Ron really needs to take a second and refocus,
yes,
because it's 176 versus 196 or even 180 is going to be a difference maker. I still believe he's going to have enough to hold on to the top spot, but it's going to be a very close, almost if he strikes out, it's basically going to be a toss-up to who can win that match.
It'll be if he goes spare strike, he will have a 7-pin lead over Hugh Miller. So a double here. I don't have to tell you how big it is. Meanwhile, 185 for Daryl Bauer against Croucher. Croucher's going to need a mark in the 10th, and he goes through the face, and the 7 falls late. The 6:10 remaining. He's still going to need the spare.
Speaking of needing the spare, Ty Dawson will need to convert the 310 to get this victory. Ron Hostler finishes with 207. Tom Baker in a similar position needs a mark.
Croucher, I don't think he's going to get that. He just picked the 10 pin off the 6. He's going to lose that match. 179 for Kevin Croucher, which puts the win in the hands of Bauer.
Benny Haves is going to collect the win. 226, 222 after Dawson unable to convert the baby split.
Dawson 222.
Keene 237 in a victory. Over Alan Sabin. Baker did make the spare, so he just needs to keep it on the lane here. He's going to be victorious. But he's not going to gain any pins on Benny Haves.
174 for Ron Moore. Sabin with a struck the fill.
That would be 216 then. Sakai is going to get the win. 235.
Baker 16, Sakai 235 with the win.
So McCordick is going to drop this match. He can max out at 210. That's what it appears from way downtown. Yep, 210 max for McCordick. So Ty Dawson, excuse me, is going to basically maintain his advantage. And just a reminder, folks, after this we will have the shortest of breaks to determine position round. Looks like a double in the 10th for McCordick. Christopher Keene has moved his way into 3rd in his group.
McCordick,
well, looks like a strike to me.
punched for 210.
So it looks like in Group A, this is pretty locked up. Just kind of a matter of seeding at this point for.
I'm showing Bauer with a 134 pin lead over Croucher. 565 to 431. 577 for Keene. 782, 788 for Miller and Moore. And 411 for Sabin. I think you marked him the win there, and I think he took the loss.
He did take the loss. That's that 30. Okay, that would be it. Good call. Yeah, we can't have 4 wins in a pool, can we?
Cannot.
That would be beyond the spectrum of math.
The bottom, I've got Ty Dawson with the loss, 222. McCordick, 210 with the loss. Sakai, 35 with a win. Hafes, 26 with the win. Baker, 16 with the win. And Hostler, 7 with the loss. So the top I think you've got 3 guys fighting for 2 spots right there because you've got, let's look at Pool A first. Ron Moore and Hugh Miller, 6 pins separate them. So basically whoever wins the next match, wins this position round match, will get the the number 1 spot for Pool A. And then really the same thing for Chris Keene and Daryl Bauer. They're separated by 12 pins. So whoever wins between those 2 will get 3 and 4. That's really just for seeding purposes for tomorrow because they would face each other in the first round of the group stepladder anyway. Kevin Croucher is 134 pins behind Bauer, and Sabin is 20 pins behind Croucher. So Croucher and Sabin 134 and 154 behind that 4th place spot. Down in Pool B, we're seeing Ty Dawson with an 82-pin lead over Pete McCordick going into the position round. I think those 2 are pretty set in where they are realistically. 3rd and 4th, Takeo Saki is at plus 556. He is 14 pins ahead of Ben Hafes, who's plus 542. Hafes is 23 pins ahead of Baker in 5th. And then Ron Hostler is 50 pins behind Baker, 73 behind Hafes in 6th. Between Sakai at 556 and Baker at 519. Those guys are 3rd, 4th, and 5th in their respective pool. 37 pin difference. So Baker is going to have to get the win against Hostler and hope that he can outscore either Sakai or Hafes, whichever one wins, by enough to jump into that top 4.
And right now they are opening up a few pairs for these, or so these players can stay loose. But also to keep in mind heading into this, and you may have mentioned it as I stepped out for a quick second, make some changes on our channels here, but Ty Dawson now only 37 pins out of it for the top overall spot.
I had not looked at that. Yeah, Dawson's now 37 behind Ron Moore for the overall number 1. So a battle going on there as well.
So for Ty, the opportunity to roll a big game would give him, along with a win, potentially let him sneak into the top overall seed. Obviously, one of his opponents in the 780s already is going to get 30. Well, technically they could get 15 if there happened to be a tie, but.
Did we ever confirm the position round pairs?
We were not given that information, so.
Oh, this isn't it.
That is not it.
Okay,
so,
I thought that might be it.
So we will have to patiently wait, just like
Ron Moore.
Just like our competitors, to find out who is going where. For our sake, I'd hope we would see our 1-2 matches in front of us, but potentially not. Potentially 3, 4, 5, 6.
I know, for the excitement's sake, I almost want to see the 1-2 match from Pool A, and then like the 3-4 or the 5-6 from Pool B. Put Pool B's 3-4 and 5-6 in front of us, because that's where the cut determination is going to be.
Hard to argue what Hugh Miller, goodness, 768. What do you have, 65 that game?
Who dat?
Hugh Miller, 10.
I thought he flushed the fill for 66.
I think he left a single pin.
Did he?
I think he
Okay.
did not get one of the corners out.
Well, it's not going to matter either way, because it won't matter for the sake of the 1 seed in their pool. It could matter for the 1 seed overall.
But that puts him at 1,033 for his last 4.
Phew!
It's a nice little 258 number.
And one of those games at 58 with an L, with
That's
a loss.
True. That is true. So at the conclusion, we will know two of our 4 in the main step ladder. Once again, we'll have 6 other players, 3 from each pool, advance on to tomorrow morning's group step ladder. And we will have it all in a recap available on bowl.com. Place to be for that. We'll share it on social media. The Sport of Bowling USBC on Facebook, at USBC on Twitter as well. So players having the ability to stay loose on the low end of the house, continue to throw a few shots. Right now, patiently waiting. As a reminder, in about, let's see, as our excitement is going on here, in about 20 minutes we will have these, or should be having, these stepladder finals at the PWBA Sonoma County Open. I'll admit I haven't been following along too much today, so let's go to pwba.com, see if we can potentially get some results from over there from the round of 12. All right, that's a, holy cow. Missy Parkins leading by 1,000,000. Missy has led every round at double-decker lanes, and she'll be looking to claim her first title since the rebirth of the PWBA Tour after winning the USBC Queens in 2011. That's a pretty impressive top four. Missy Parkin, the top overall seed. Shayna Ung from Singapore, Team Singapore's final event. Before they head back to start to prepare for a couple of overseas events. Shayna will be looking for her second career title, and the 3 seed Stephanie Johnson looking for her first title in 2019. And to finish things up, making her first stepladder finals appearance, her rookie season has been incredibly solid so far, and definitely in the early mix for Rookie of the Year. Valerie Bercier, who represents Team Canada on the lanes but lives now in Spring Lake, Michigan, will be making her first stepladder finals appearance. Take on Stephanie in the opening match. Giselle Poss, the first player out of the cut. Danielle McCune in 6th. Shaina Saraus and Julia Bond tied for 7th. Sandra Gongora 9th. Jen Higgins 10th. Deandra Asbeatty in 11th. And Clara Guerrero finishing in 12th this week at double-decker lane. So I know the crew quickly putting together the TV set over there. So you can even see on the channels below the video, they've been trimmed down to just PWBA featured. You can see all of ours up there right now, but once again, we are waiting. So it looks like all of our scores have been confirmed. So once again, we kind of know our 4 in Group A. Moore, Miller, Keene, and Bauer, outside of anything improbable happening, will be moving on to competition in some way, shape, or form tomorrow. But for Moore or Miller, much more on the line. Just 6 pins separating them for the not only the top seed in Group A and an automatic spot in the stepladder finals, but for the top overall seed to have to win just 1 match to claim the title.
I have a score update for everybody. And it has nothing to do with the Super Senior Classic either. The sweeper going on the other side of the house.
Uh-oh.
For the bowlers who did not make the cut to this morning, or excuse me, this afternoon, they're bowling a 5-game sweeper. I don't know what they're bowling on, if it's the tournament pattern or if it's the house pattern. The scores would lead me to believe it's the tournament pattern.
All right.
But after 3 games, they're bowling 5, just 5 games, boom, done. Mitch Vernon, plus 132. Don Woolard, plus 97. Dan Sasaki, plus 71. Emilio Mora, plus 66. And Dale Pollard, plus 62. There's your top 5.
How about that? While you were away, I railed off for top 4 for the PWBA step ladder final too. So bowling going on all over the place while we wait for bowling to continue to happen here.
Missy has led from, I believe, start to finish.
She has, yes.
She shot 277 the first game yesterday or 2 days ago. And now she's got a 288 pin lead. Oh.
At this point, though, all pinfall drops. And
Giselle missed by 12 with a 240 last game. It's not like she bowled bad. Danielle, 194, missed by 36. Good deal. Man.
So they'll be actually starting in 15 minutes.
Missy just railed off on him.
I think she had a 299 in there as well.
She may as well have.
But yeah, that's
just for good measure.
That's one of those things, though, and lead a tournament by that much and then have it come down to 1 game.
Well, that's what we saw the last 2 years, the U.S. Open.
That is very, very true. Jacob Buttriff leading by a ton each of those years. First in Liverpool, New York, just outside of Syracuse at Flamingo Bowl in 2017. And then in North Rock Lanes in Wichita, Kansas last year. Falling to Rhino Page and Don Barrett respectively, but Jacob went out and won the Masters this year. So
yes, he did.
Happy for young Mr. Buttriff there, getting that first major after 3 close calls, 3 runner-up finishes over the course of his young career, but now we play the waiting game.
That's all we can do, really. We could flip the cameras on us, play some rock, paper, scissors.
Yeah. Then we have to reset them up, though. That's the only
That's
problem
a good
with that.
point.
I mean, take a look. I guess we could go grab another camera from the office.
I'd hate for you to have to do extra work just to lose.
This is true. It's not my strong point. I overthink my moves. Need to be more natural with it.
How analytical do you have to be to overthink 3 options?
Talk about getting in your own way.
Yeah, no kidding. Well, the bottom 4 on Pool B definitely stretched themselves out a bit after Game 4, because after Game 4, you could there was 29 pins between Sakai and Hostler. And after this last game, 3 of the 4 all won their matches. Sakai, Haves, and Baker all won their matches with scores higher than Hostler, who did not win his match. And if you're Hostler, that's about the worst thing that could have happened. You had the lowest score of the 4, and they all won their matches, and you didn't. So he is 73 pins out of 4th. But that doesn't mean that he can't pop off a big game right here. He went big the last 5 games, pretty much the whole morning this morning, to jump into the top 12. So it's not out of the realm of possibility that he could put something up big here. And if the pins fall in the right way, I guess the wrong way for everyone above him, he could make that top 4 jump. Top 4 pretty much locked in on Pool A with 134 pins from Darryl Bauer in 4th, back to Kevin Croucher in 5th. Two bowlers today are minus for their 5 games up to this point. Alan Sabin, who is currently 6th in Pool A with a 2-3 match play record, and Kevin Croucher minus 76. He has 1 game over 200. That was a 201 back in Game 3. His other 4 games, 181, 171, 192, and 179. He is minus 76 with a 2-3 match play record.
Put out a trivia, or not trivia question. It'd be impressive if they could select it already, but more of a poll. Who will be the top overall seed for the stepladder finals? You see the choices on your screen. Simply can select. We have Ron Moore, Hugh Miller, and Ty Dawson all in the mix for the...
Ron Moore at plus 788, Hugh Miller at plus 782. They will be bowling against each other. And then Ty Dawson at plus 751.
So we are still waiting for the official announcement on where everyone will be. So players still have the option. Staying loose down at the low end of the house. We've had a few folks make their way back. Kevin Croucher is over here talking to a few folks. Ty Dawson has brought his bowling ball back with him. He is as ready as he will be. Looks like everyone else still kind of hanging down there, throwing a few shots.
Still have one bowler I got to get video of throwing a strike.
If it's Hugh Miller, you've been doing this wrong because he's been striking the whole time.
It's not Hugh Miller.
Okay.
I tried to get them all during practice because I don't want to be down there during competition, kind of getting in their way, even if I'm not in their way. But I need Benny Haves, who's still down there practicing. I may run down and try and grab one of him. Because my plan's splice together all the videos and do like a highlight reel of the top 12, and just to show, I'm kind of past the point where we could put it up on the USBC page because we're 1 game away from match play being over. But I want to put it on my personal page to show the people back home and anyone who's not here the quality of talent that was in this field. And you look at the top 12, you have a tournament that starts out with 198, you get down to 12. Those 12 are more than likely the top talent in that field.
And you would see from that a variety of styles, too.
Absolutely.
Definitely not one particular way, shape, or form leading the way. So
well, there is one particular way, shape, or form that we haven't seen in this tournament. No Belmonte seniors out there. Not yet, anyway.
This is a fact. We're going to run our poll results now. So who will be the top overall seed for the stepladder finals from Ron Moore, Hugh Miller, and Ty Dawson? Survey says Ron Moore at 64%. Everyone thinks Ron will, or the majority, I should say, thinks Ron will figure it out. Hugh Miller at 27%, Ty Dawson at 9%. So we will see. If I had to pick, it'd be really tough to go against Hugh Miller at this point. As dominant and great as Ron Moore has been this week, there is nothing suggesting, for me at least, that Hugh is going to lose that look he's had on the left side. Less traffic there. He's gotten the right ball in his hands, has been making the shots. And I think Ron Moore will need a humongous effort to hold off Hugh Miller, who's averaged 258 in his last 4 games, but that's why we bowl him, folks. If Ron, once again, we're not sure where everyone's going to end up pairwise here. But we certainly expect it to be a match full of some great shot making. And a little bit more. Once again, waiting for the position round at the moment. The 2019 Super Senior Classic will be back on the lanes tomorrow for the group stepladder. Noon Eastern, 9 a.m. local time here at Samstown and in Las Vegas. And be followed 2 hours later by the main stepladder finals of the Super Senior Classic, 2 p.m. Eastern, 11 a.m. local time. On Monday, June 3rd, we'll have no action here on Bold TV because it will be practice day from the USBC Senior Masters, also right here at Samstown. And then after that, we will kick off competition there for more than 300 of the top players 50 and above on June 4th. Once again, wire-to-wire coverage right here on Bold TV. Any luck, Daniel?
No, he just shot one washout. I do believe that one of our assistant tournament directors, Chip Akey, was just down there talking to the guys. Didn't hear the conversation, but I believe it was something along the lines of, it shouldn't be too much longer. I think they're getting the lane assignments put together right now. He was just standing by the printer, so possibly waiting for them to get printed out and go announce them.
Potentially he could just be cold and enjoys the warm paper.
That too. That could be. That could be possible as well.
I've been there before. Actually, like a week and a half ago in Wichita, that was pretty chilly there at North Rock Lanes.
This is a 10-pound bowling ball. And my thumb clears it easily. What person using a 10-pound ball would need a thumb hole that big? Good golly gee.
That is sizable.
Yes, I like this little 9-pound ball right here. There we go. I'm telling you, two-handed pop bowling. Oh, there's no popping. I get bored, I see a bowling ball laying around, just pick it up, put my hand in it, I can't help it.
I was going to say, even though it's not popping, you can just outbowl the pop.
Outbowl the pop. I could lock and drop it.
There you go.
Boom. Well, I think when you and I said it'll be just a short delay, we underestimated the word short and the delay part. This is more of a break.
Break for us, at least.
We had a 2.5-hour break between the Cashers round and match play.
That we did. But we had a fantastic lunch.
Yes, we did.
TGI Friday strikes again.
I went down to went over to the sports book, placed some bets for a friend of mine that is back home. So you said the PWBA starts at, I guess, 5:30 local time?
It might be live now. Let's see. It says live.
Oh, boy.
It is live.
Let's see. Bob, no, they did not all fall asleep. We've got some of them around us talking to friends, family, spectators. The rest of them are staying loose down on lanes, I believe, 5 through 10. And then Judith asked if it was cold in Wichita at North Rock, and
it's varied throughout the course of the tournament. It really did, at least from where the office was at.
Ben Hafe threw a strike.
Oh. I was wondering what you could be so worked up over in this situation.
But Judith, if you're going there to compete, to bowl, typically if it's cooler or even cold in the bowling center, and if you're a bowler, you know this, the bowlers, we don't typically feel it.
This is true as well. It's mostly, and as someone who's in bowling centers all the time, not bowling,
right?
You will always see me at least in some type of pullover and 3 layers. But as far as athlete reports, I can't say yay or nay, but it's always good to be prepared, though. So
that's why when I walk into a bowling center, whether it's for league, in the middle of December or a tournament in the middle of July, if I walk in the bowling center and I'm comfortable, I'm like, oh no, this is not good. Some of the toughest tournament squads I've ever competed in have been during the Derby tournament at Executive Bowl, which we talked about yesterday in Louisville. And I don't bowl a lot with the local people because I've got friends from the Chicago area and then a group from St. Louis that I'll bowl with. So I'll always bowl with them. Well, those groups bring like full squads worth of teams, 52 teams, 48 teams, and they darn near fill the house. You're talking about 5 people on a pair, or 5 people on a team, 10 people on a pair, a full house, plus you've got people that come to watch, with those groups. You've got a full house of bowlers in the middle of June, May, June. Those are some of the most miserable squads because they are so hot in there.
Does sound like it. But for Judith's purposes, I think it's been pretty temperate from what I've heard.
Well, good.
I see Greg Moore down there now. So
Yeah, he was walking down there.
Potentially handing out some lane assignments.
He sure is. He's handing out papers.
So it looks like position round may kick off at the same time as the stepladder finals at the PWBA Sonoma County Open. So
that's exciting.
Can go through multiple tabs here, go back and forth.
Multiple tabs. I wonder. Pull it up on my cellular phone here.
The devices.
The devices.
All right, here's Ty Dawson. He's
oh, Emil Williams Jr.
Joined by Liz Culkin and the. They got the step and repeat. We didn't have the step and repeat when I was there. Let's see how it is. Hasn't started yet.
They have the what? What did you say?
The step and repeat.
What in the world's that?
That's what I said the first time I heard someone call it a step and repeat. But basically, the backdrop there.
The backdrop.
The backdrop, yes.
The backdrop.
It is known as a step and repeat in the.
Huh. I've never heard that.
So they are kicking off over in Rohnert Park. Valerie Bercier taking on Stephanie Johnson. While we patiently wait to see where folks end up at. The bowlers have made their way to the pairs, but we haven't seen names necessarily pop up on the screens here. Let's see, we got Ron Hostler bringing a bowling ball here to 21 and 22.
I am angering my phone. Just trying to.
Yeah, it looks like we'll be catching our 5-6 matches.
Still waiting to see where we've got some bowlers matriculating down through the pit area. I think he may be correct as Alan Sabin drops his bags off on 19. Kevin Croucher sitting behind 20. And then over on 21, Ron Hostler standing there. So I think he is correct. We have our 5-6 matches right in front of us. One of which doesn't really have any implications. That's Croucher and Sabin. They are 134 and 154 behind fourth place Daryl Bauer up in Pool A. And then Pool B, Tom Baker and Ron Hostler. Baker's 23 behind Ben Hafes up in 4th, and Hostler 73 behind. So really the only implication that we have there is that Baker needs to get a win. Needs to get the win and hope that he can outdistance either Hafes or Sakai, who are 3rd and 4th. Looks like the pair to our right on 23 and 24. I see Ron Moore down there. So Ron Moore and Hugh Miller will do battle on 23 and 24. I know Ron was unhappy with how the lanes played when he faced Miller on 21 and 22 in Game 5. And Miller shot 266 at him, or 265 at him. Wonder if he knows that Hugh Miller was 1 stone 8 pin away from shooting 269 on 23 and 24 just the game before. But I digress. Looks like, okay, 17 and 18 is the dead pair, 15 and 16. Daryl Bauer is sitting behind 16, so I think that we'll see Chris Keene and Bauer on 15 and 16. That match really just a seeding match for tomorrow, as Daryl Bauer in 4th is 134 ahead of 5th, and Keene is 205 behind 2nd. Now only 12 pins separate Keene and Bauer, so whoever wins that match will be the higher seed in their first match of the group stepladder tomorrow. They will face each other there. So really the higher seeding, I'm assuming, will probably get lane choice and choose who goes first. Just to the left of them, I see Benny Hafes sitting behind 13 and 14, which means it would be Hafes and Sakai, which means that Ty Dawson and Pete McCordick, I believe, will be down on 11 and 12. So the tournament director Greg Moore walking through the pit area, letting bowlers know they can begin their matches. I don't think they get any practice on the pair as Ron Moore steps up to throw the first shot of the final round in the round robin match play, the position round. Starts off with a strike, and yes, they're going right into competition. No practice. Well, no practice on their pair. They've had the opportunity to shadow practice throughout the entirety of the break. Again, the matches with the most implication really are Moore and Miller, who both start off with strikes to determine who's going to win Pool A. Ty Dawson on the other end was only 30-ish pins behind those two for the overall #1 seed. He realistically has Pool B locked up with an 82-pin lead over Pete McCordick. Pete with over 100-pin lead over 3rd, so more than likely he will be the 2 seed. He will be in the finals of the group step ladder tomorrow. But then you're looking at Sakai, Hafes, and Baker, all separated by 37 pins. Hafes and Baker down on Sakai and Hafes are down on 13 and 14. Baker on 21 and 22. We've got our work cut out for us right now because they've got A and B on the screen. We don't have initials up there.
Except on 23 and 24. All right. Follow the arrows, they say.
Anyway, we can just get names in every other pair. It'd make our jobs easier.
folks watching on live scoring, but if they don't have it, we will, one way or the other. Over on 23 and 24, Ron Moore, chance to take an early lead against Hugh Miller. Miller going strike spare, and Ron will not get the double, so essentially all even after 2 with the spare.
Oh! Ron Hostler finds the channel.
Again, Tom Baker, 23 pins out. Croucher and Sabin probably a little bit too far out to catch the rest of the pack. Hostler comes back with the spare. Croucher with the early double.
Ooh.
Gotta see if I can verify some A's and B's for us here along the way.
Ty Dawson starts out his match over McCordick's spare double. McCordick has been strike spare. Sakai looking to go spare. Opening against Hafes, who split the first frame and then spared the second. Keene and Bauer. Keene 2 spares, Bauer spare strike. So the guys that, if you're keeping track at home, the guys that really need big games are Tom Baker and Ty Dawson. Baker would need a big score to try and run down one of the 2 guys that are ahead of him to get that 4th spot in the pool to advance tomorrow morning. And then Ty Dawson would need a big game to try and take over the overall #1 seed in the finals stepladder for tomorrow afternoon.
Hugh Miller striking the 3rd frame. He's taking a 3-pin advantage, can push it to 13 with a strike in the 4th. Once again, that is available on SSC 23 through 26. If you want to watch that match, we will give you continued updates, however. And, whoa, goodness. Bird dogs all over the place. Nothing to run down the 8-pin, though. For Miller in frame number 4. Baker clean through 3. Kevin Croucher looking to extend his lead. He's going to need a big game and some help here. And we'll get the trip 9. Over on, I guess it would be 11 and 12. A is Ty Dawson, B is Pete McCordick. On 13 and 14, Takeo Sakai is A, Ben Hafes is B. On 15 and 16, you can watch that as well. Christopher Keene is A, Daryl Bauer is B. You miss an absolutely crushed stone 8-pin from Hugh Miller.
Oh.
Trying to get an early double.
Was it on the right lane?
It was on the left lane.
Oh,
so
okay.
So it's,
Oh, so he's done it on both lanes then.
it's equal opportunity on 23 and 24.
Don't hook, don't hook. Ty Dawson doing what he needs to do down there. Pete McCordick not giving him any breathing room, though. If Pete can strike here in the fifth, they would both be on 290, 280 max halfway through the game.
No doubles yet on 23 and 24. Hugh Miller up 4, so, I mean, at the moment, that would not be, well, that would be enough with the bonus spins. I always forget about the bonus spins. Both players working on spares in frame number 4 over there. Looks like McCordick's got a 2-pin.
Yes, 2-pin. Oof.
Catches just enough of it. Pretty close so far now between Keene and Bauer as well. Bauer with the early advantage, up 5, working on a strike. Can push it to 15 with one more. And Ron Moore cannot find the carry on 23 and 24 right now. Leaves a flat 10.
Hostler with that chop spare. Pretty much done. He was 73 out of 4th. Tom Baker is going to need to find a way to start striking, and pretty soon.
Pretty fortunate break for Hugh Miller over on 24. That could have been the 3-5-6. Crumbled it into just
a 5-pin.
Just the 5-pin.
Left off his hand for Croucher. Cordick high flush, or excuse me, Dawson high flush 4-pin.
So nobody really taking control over on 23 and 24. 4-pin advantage, Hugh Miller after 5. Baker stays clean. But as he said, he's going to need some strikes.
I mean, if he wanted to be watching, he'd need to be watching 13 and 14, because he needs to beat. Assuming he's going to get the 30-pin match win, he needs to beat one of those guys. That's who he's looking to pass. Right now, his best chance is Hafes, who has split with 3 spares in a row. He's down to Sakai by about 12.
But no doubles up there.
Nope.
However, Tom also missing out on the whole double train.
No doubles on still between Moore and Miller as well. Got that one a little further right. Through the face for Hafes, another baby split. 310.
And big time trouble for Ron Moore. 4-6-7.
This might be the best thing possible for Dawson, the fact that he is on the other side of the house, away from these two. He can just do his thing down there. Right now, he can max at 269 through 7 frames, while neither Miller, as we mentioned, nor Moore have a double. Haves picked up the 310.
Moore looking to bounce back after the split in the 7th, and for everything that's gone well for Ron, throughout the course of this week is just kind of
Evaporated. I mean,
evaporated at the wrong time. He's still going to be in contention to win this event, but it's going to be a little bit tougher climb unless Hugh Miller starts giving him a little bit of help here. McCordick can still max out 259. He delivered another double.
Dawson 269, so it's
that 30 could be
huge.
be humongous the way things are kind of shaping up here, especially if, I mean, Miller can take total control of this match with a strike on 24 right now.
He likes it. He should. Meanwhile, Hafes and Sakai still yet to find a double between the two. Hafes has yet to strike, as he's left a very choppable 258. Dawson gets the 10 out.
I wasn't sure at first, and then the reaction afterwards
Yep, Hafes,
pushed it over.
solid 258 conversion. Miller, time to put your foot on the throat. High flush 6-pin, doesn't get the trip. Tom Baker, swisher strike over on 22. Here's an opportunity for him to catch a double.
Oh, goodness. Hugh Miller missed the 6-pin. If Ty Dawson, I believe he struck, he's in shutout territory for this top overall spot now. If he shot 269, got the max, he would get 99 pins on top of that to get to plus 850. The best Hugh Miller could do was get to 232. Add the 62 on to match.
Baker, another swisher.
Need to get to 233. He can no longer do that. 216, his max after missing the spare. And all of a sudden, Ron Moore can throw a double here, even though Kerry has not been his friend. He can make this a 5-pin match.
Sakai has caught a double down on 13 and 14, so he has the match in his hand right now over Hafes, who has yet to strike. And it looks like McCordick just split. So again, Dawson with that match comfortably in hand. Sakai with 3 in a row. Hafes, the best he can do be 222.
Biggest shot of the tournament right here so far for Ron Moore. Can he set up the knife? Needs one more.
Didn't like it. I think it was bad off his hand. He felt it. He felt it and he was hoping for some luck.
10-pin will put him at a max score now of 191. Hugh Miller can stay clean with decent count. Earn a spot in the step ladder, but it looks like it's going to be Ty Dawson. So even if he loses, could get close, but
I think we're going to see Tom Baker pick up the 30 bonus that he needs.
Pete McCordick finishing up right now, down on 11 and 12. Daryl Bauer holding the lead right now against Christopher Keene for essentially the lane choice in the group stepladder.
Hafes caught a strike in the 7th. He's up in the 8th. Hugh Miller, strike after that missed single pin. That gives him a 25-pin lead max out on Ron Moore. So McCordick looking to strike for 90 or 23 here. Yes, 221 for Pete McCordick.
So this 10th frame is going to be humongous
For Ty Dawson.
for Ty Dawson. If Hugh Miller strikes out 216 plus 30, he would get to 828 over. If Hugh goes 9 spare strike, he'd lose 21 from his max of 850 and be at 829.
3 strikes in a row for Tom Baker, and all of them have been half pocket swishers. Big shot for Ty Dawson right here. You called it, 9 spare strike. He can shut out by 1 for the overall #1 seed.
He's going to get the win. Strike will do it. Oh,
He posted it.
got it, didn't even need it as Hugh Miller missed. So by our calculations, Ty Dawson is going to make up the difference of 30 plus pins by posting a huge, at least 250 game, potentially 260, and that could have been 210 right there. It's going to be our top overall seed.
So if he goes spare strikes out, that's 26, that's 56 with the bonus. And Haves can go 202. That'd be a difference of 54. Baker would more than make up because he was only 27 behind Ben Haves. So 205 for Miller. Gets the bonus. Ron Moore is going to leave this building.
Not going to be a happy camper.
Dawson just dead flush as the 11th one.
.237, 180 victory for Kevin Croucher over Alan Sabin. Not going to be enough, though. Daryl Bauer just needs decent count, and he's going to, or should flip past Christopher Keene for the #3 seed overall in Group A.
208 for Bauer.
Sakai with a split in frame #8, but still well in control of the match.
Dawson looking up to strike for 60, not 269. I'm going to go ahead and give it to him on my spreadsheet. Flat 10? Question mark?
Correct.
Flat 10. All right, I've got one opportunity here.
So unofficially, Ty Dawson at plus 849, Hugh Miller at plus 817 will be our 2 top group winners, and will have a spot in the stepladder finals of the 2019 Super Senior Classic. Bauer finishes with 208 and the victory. That's going to be enough to jump into 3rd place in Group A. So for Group A, it looks like our rundown is going to be Hugh Miller 1st, Ron Moore 2nd, Daryl Bauer 3rd, Christopher Keene 4th. Not advancing, Kevin Croucher and Alan Sabin. Max score right now for Tom Baker, 226. He's going to get the victory. Use the 310. Let's do some real quick math here. Benny's throwing his first shot in the 10th and also leaves the 310. His max score is going to be 179. So he's going to drop 21 pins there and not get the win. So it's going to be Tom Baker sneaking into the #4 spot in the final game. Ben Haves and Ron Hostler are going to be eliminated. as neither player converts, but 203 going to be enough for the Bakes. So just one match left going at the moment. But I believe we are pretty confident in our numbers, or at least in our position.
Excuse me. Sakai shooting the 310.
Nobody made the 310 there for the 10th frame.
Puts him at 201. I think you and I have the same numbers. Ty Dawson takes over the overall #1 seed by 38 pins. 849 to 817 over Hugh Miller.
All right, folks. I feel pretty confident in what we've done here on the math side. Ty and Hugh Miller.
Ty and Hugh Miller 1-2.
Our group winners.
Your group winners. It'll be your #2 seed in each group, Ron Moore, up in Group A, and Pete McCordick in Group B.
Mm-hmm.
The first round group stepladder matches tomorrow will be Daryl Bauer versus Chris Keene and Takeo Sakai. I've done that like 20 times this week. Takeo Sakai and Tom Baker, as Ben Hafes falls outside after shooting 168. We thought Tom Baker was going to need a lot of strikes. Well, he didn't. He just needed to stay clean, and for the most part he did. He opened in the 10th, but at that point it didn't matter. Your plus-minus numbers: Group A, Hugh Miller, plus 817. Ron Moore, plus 755. Daryl Bauer, plus 603. Chris Keene, plus 570. Outside the top four: Kevin Croucher, plus 498. He finished 72 out. And Alan Sabin, plus 391. He finished 179 out. Group Pool B, Ty Dawson, plus 849, overall #1 seed. Pete McCordick, plus 690. 159 behind Dawson. Takeo Sakai, plus 587. 262 behind Dawson. Tom Baker in 4th, plus 552. He was 42 pins ahead of Ben Hafes, who finished at 510. And Ron Hostler at 455 over. He was 97 pins behind Tom Baker.
All right, folks, still waiting for the official call here at Samstown. Great question in the chat from Bob. Who do you got tomorrow? And I have to admit, it'd be fairly tough to pick against any of the two players who are already seated. We've seen both of them play the lanes kind of their own way. Ty kind of hooking it the most from the right side, and then Hugh is the lone left-hander in the field, so certainly could see both players working their way into a very strong look. Here at Samstown, but
Excuse me.
you're excused.
Thank you.
So it looks like Greg Moore is making the trip up there.
He knows how meticulous I am with, or we are, both of us. You with your handwriting on your score sheet and me with my Excel spreadsheet. He wanted me to make sure that his numbers matched our numbers.
That is
just to double check.
And right now you can see Greg at the counter making the announcement. So we will let him do so.
Tomorrow morning at 9 o'clock, we'll start our group step-ladder final coming out of Group A. Christopher Keene will face Darrell Bauer. The winner of that match will go on to face Ron Moore for the right to be in the step-ladder finals that will crown our champion. Out of Group B, Tommy Baker will take on Takeo Sakai. The winner of that match will face Pete McCordick. And the winner of that match will move on to our step-ladder final. The group step-ladder finals will begin at 9 a.m. That will be followed at 11 a.m. by our step-ladder final will crown our champion 3 and 4 seed face off. Then the winner of that match will face Hugh Miller, the number 2 seed. And the winner of that match will face our number 1 seed overall, Ty Dawson, for right where
So you hear the crowd go wild there, and it is confirmed by Greg Moore, our tournament leader. Number 1 seed for the stepladder, Ty Dawson. Number 2, Hugh Miller. Group stepladder for Group A. Bauer versus Keene, winner to take on Ron Moore. In Group B, Tom Baker versus Takeo Sakai. Winner takes on Pete McCordick. So just like that, we have finished today, folks. We got there. We're down to 8 players here at the Super Senior Classic. Some excitement, some roller coasters for sure. We saw some players put together some big-time performances to make their way into the position to win this coveted title for players 60 and above. But for right now,
What do you take away from what we witnessed this afternoon?
Hugh Miller got something in his hands that, or a look, whatever it may have been, that made him super tough. He's the lone left-hander left in the field. He's not going to have to worry about any additional tradition since Ron Hostler has been eliminated. So Hugh is going to have some time. If he can create a little bit of look in his warm-up time before the stepladder, he's going to be tough. But Ty Dawson today, I mean, you can't argue the block he put together to put himself in this position and then delivering in the finals to earn that top seed, or in the final game, I should say. But Ron Moore is going to bounce back from this. He's not going to be very happy tonight. Things did not go his way, which happens to the best of us, and Ron Moore is one of the best out there. So I'm intrigued to see if Ron can put himself in the stepladder final. I want to see his demeanor when he gets back here tomorrow. I want to see his shot making. I want to see what he does out on the lanes. Because I think if he can get a win or two under his belt, he's going to give, Hugh or Ty a whole bunch to handle.
Yeah, I think Ron, the gap between himself and Hugh Miller started closing. And I think it was the same game that Ron was having issues with 21 and 22 that Hugh Miller, actually I can look it up right here. Was that the game that Hugh lost that? No, it was the game before. So the game after, Hugh Miller shot 58 and stoned that 8-pin to lose the bonus pins. He closed that gap because that game, no, that was against Ron. I'm sorry. That was against Ron. That's right. It was the next game when Ron was on 21 and 22, and he made that comment to us about this pair and what it was doing. And I think it got in his head. It absolutely got in his head, and he let that affect the entirety of that game, and then the next game as well.
Well, the good news, folks, is always another attempt for redemption for Ron here at Sam's Town. He's done it once. Can he do it again? But he's going to have to get through 2 tough opponents at minimum if he makes it. Once again, Hugh Miller, the number 2 seed. Ty Dawson, the top overall qualifier for the step ladder tomorrow. But for right now, we got to go run some guys down to go chat with them before they
Leave.
Before they boogie. But right now, you can head over to the PWBA stepladder finals of the Sonoma County Open, ongoing at the moment. Missy Park in the top seed. Emil Williams Jr. and Liz Culkin on the call. I'll be back tomorrow with Matt Cannizzaro for the group stepladder final, noon Eastern, 9 a.m. local time, followed by the stepladder final of the Super Senior Classic at 2 p.m. Eastern, 11 local time. Daniel's going to go back to the Open Championships. He actually has a shift tonight.
I do.
So, Daniel, thank you again. Excellent work this week, and we definitely appreciate you helping out, and look forward to more in the future.
Well, I should be back next week at some point for Senior Masters. I'm really looking forward to that because I get to, if I get to come back, I'll get to commentate basically a PBA tournament from 1999.
There we go.
So I'm looking forward to that.
All right, folks, we're going to go ahead and sign off. Thank you again for watching us here on Bowl TV. Bowling lives here. And, yeah, we'll be back from Sam's Town tomorrow. Till then, rest up and look for the recap on bowl.com later tonight. Thanks again.